Why is it so on trend to sit in freezing cold water? Why did my son run an ultra marathon last fall and start training for his first triathlon a month later? If you've ever been part of this wellness world, you know there's something addictive about extreme experiences. There's a high that's only accessible beyond the pain. This is true on a physical level, and it's true of emotional work too. Today, I want to talk about some common advice that we hear all the time. Just feel your feelings. Sit with the pain. Don't avoid it. But what no one tells you is how to do that without getting overwhelmed, flooded, or stuck in the pain for days. If you've ever tried to sit with emotional pain and ended up spiraling, shutting down, or questioning whether you're doing healing wrong, this video is for you. Today, I want to talk about what it actually means to sit with emotional pain, why people often get stuck when they try, and how to stay present without re-traumatizing yourself. Many people confuse presence with immersion. They think sitting with pain means replaying the story in their head, analyzing what went wrong, trying to resolve it mentally, or forcing themselves to feel everything all at once. But that's not presence. That's all rumination. It's all mind stuff. And rumination, or thinking about it, doesn't heal pain. It actually reinforces it. True presence is about being with the experience, not becoming the experience. So here's the key distinction I want you to gather today. It's the distinction of pain versus suffering. And that's one of the most important distinctions you can learn on a healing journey. Pain is unavoidable. Everybody is going to experience pain in the course of living a human life. But suffering is optional. Suffering happens when pain is combined with resistance, judgment, fear, or the belief that it will never end. So as Eckhart Tolle teaches, pain intensifies when we add a story to it. So presence doesn't mean liking the pain. It means removing the extra layers that keep it stuck, which are usually mind layers, the layers of the story around the pain. One of the ways I try to simplify this with my clients is this simple phrase: focus on the what, not the why. Anytime you find yourself dysregulated, you'll notice that your mind is likely spinning into a story. It's probably trying to figure out what happened, what might happen next, or whose fault it was. That's because your mind is wired to protect you, to help you survive. But the minute you're in a story, you've lost presence. The story is all mind stuff, and the suffering is usually in the story, much more than the actual circumstances. Now, that's not to say you don't have challenging circumstances to deal with, but if you were able to actually drop the story and just deal with the circumstances, that would be that. There might be some unpleasant aspects to what you're experiencing, but in most cases, it wouldn't be life or death. It wouldn't be the crisis your mind makes it out to be. It would just be a circumstance you're dealing with. The why sucks you back into the story. It sucks you back into the mind, and that's the opposite of presence. Presence drops you into the body. So instead of ranting or ruminating about the conflict and why things happened the way they did, you focus on the what. What is here? What is present? I feel tightness in my chest. I feel heat in my face. Maybe there's an emotion you can name. This feels like grief. This feels like shame. And you literally sit and feel the pain or sensation of that emotion move through your body as a what, not a why. And the amazing thing is that if you can do this in usually about 90 seconds or so, that pain starts to dissolve. 90 seconds is how long it takes for an emotion to pass through the body from an initial trigger, according to brain scientist Dr. Jill Bolt-Taylor. This 90-second cycle represents the time it takes for chemicals like adrenaline or cortisol to flush out, after which any remaining feeling is sustained only by continued thoughts or mental rumination. So you're actually keeping yourself in the pain by continuing to think about the problem or conflict that's flooding your system with these stress hormones. That's powerful information. Now, even when you're sitting with a sensation of pain in your body, I want you to realize you don't have to stay in that pain continuously if it's really strong. A powerful trauma-informed approach that I work with my clients all the time and I work with in myself is titrating, moving gently between feeling that painful sensation and feeling something neutral or resourcing. For example, notice the grief in your chest for a few breaths. Notice how it feels. Maybe it feels heavy. Maybe it feels dark. Maybe it feels like a weight that's just wrapping around your whole chest. Stay and feel that for a few breaths. And then shift your attention and notice the chair underneath you. Feel your body supported by your chair. And then go back to feeling that grief in your chest. Titrate in and out. This teaches your nervous system, I can feel this and I can come back. I have the capacity to feel this. This sensation, this feeling isn't going to kill me or destroy me. And when we're in that sensation, the survival part of our brain, our nervous system, automatically kind of is like, this is going to kill me. I don't want to feel this, right? So we're working with that nervous system like a master would work with a little puppy dog, okay? The dog trainer would work with that little puppy dog to say, okay, I know this is hard. Come back, sit, come back, okay? We're training our nervous system that it actually, teaching it does have the capacity. And that titrating is what builds capacity. And now this is where people often rush ahead. Okay, maybe they'll spend a moment actually feeling the sensation of pain, but then they want to rush ahead and ask, how do I get rid of this? So instead of rushing ahead and asking, how do I get rid of this? I want you to just try offering that pain simple compassion. As Tara Brach teaches, compassion begins with acknowledging suffering. So you might silently say, this is hard. And these are mantras that you can take with you as tools in your toolkit. The mantra, this is hard. The mantra, anyone in my situation would feel this. The mantra, I'm here with you. There's no fixing, there's no reframing, there's just presence and compassion. This is very much the work of Dr. Kristin Neff, who's the guru of self-compassion. So sitting with emotional pain is about learning how to bring presence to the experience of sensation moving through your body, investigating the what, not the why, titrating in and out of the feeling if you need to, and meeting it with compassion rather than fixing energy. And when you're able to do this, the most amazing thing is you'll start to discover 2 life-changing realizations. Number 1, I actually have the capacity to be with this uncomfortable emotion. Incredible. What most of us have spent entire lifetimes kicking and screaming, scrolling, binging, drugging ourselves not to feel, we can actually feel it. And it's not that bad. In fact, feeling it is actually way easier than all the havoc we create in our day-to-day lives by trying so desperately and so unconsciously to not feel it. One of the mantras I use almost every day around this is, there is room for this. There is room for this too. So when we ground into that presence and we allow that sensation to pass, we realize that there really is room for whatever is here. And that brings us into an awareness of the mystery, that we're not really carrying it alone. The second life-changing realization, and this is where this work really becomes about spiritual awakening in these 2 realizations, is the realization of impermanence. And this is such an important realization to really get in that aha way that clicks in your mind, body, spirit. At the last Eckhart Tolle retreat I attended, one of the first things he said when he sat down in his little chair was, the realization of impermanence is the foundation of spiritual awakening. And realization here means more than understanding something as a concept, like, oh yes, let's talk about impermanence. Yes, I get what you mean by that. Realization means that you know it in the cells of your body. You know it like you know a forest. And you breathe in the dewy air and you feel the crunch of the leaves and branches under your feet, and you feel the tickle of leaves brush against your skin. You know the forest. Not knowing in a book way, like that's a sycamore tree. And yes, that species of ant has been here for thousands of years. There's a place for that kind of knowing. But spiritual knowing is more than conceptual knowing. It's an embodied realization. And the realization of impermanence is something we come to know deeper and deeper the more we're able to live in a state of presence, because we experience it for ourselves. Moment to moment, our experience is always changing. The stream of thought is always moving. The river of sensation is always flowing. So when we sit with emotional pain, we watch it arise. We feel it in our body with all its color and heat and texture and vividness. And then we watch it dissolve. And that pain becomes less scary, less threatening. It's like the bogeyman when we were a young child. We start to know from our own experience, it's not real. And then we're able to live life with a little more courage, a little more capacity to stay in the hard moments. And we're a little harder to manipulate or be deterred from our true purpose because we're not so afraid of the potential discomfort, because it's not real. It's not permanent. It's going to arise, yes, and I'm going to feel it in my body, and it might be uncomfortable, but then it's going to dissolve, and there I'll be. The deep I, this clear space, this being, this consciousness, ready to take my next right step from a place of groundedness, clarity, and truth on a journey that's much greater than the present circumstances of my life. In my next video, how to calm your mind in personal or political chaos, I walk you through a naming practice. I really recommend watching that one next. I'll link it below. May this information and may this practice serve your awakening. Namaste.